All right, guys, what's going on? Hope everyone is doing well. This is Johnny, first live stream of the day. It's Thursday morning here in Sydney, Australia. We have a lot of talk about, a lot of boxing to go over. We woke up this morning in Australia with more options. So more fights have been released on our betting sites. I use a couple down here in Australia, Sportsbet and Bet365. So wherever you are, I'm sure by now, Thursday in Australia, Wednesday in America, you probably have your eyes on specific fights. You probably have your eyes on specific method of victories. So we're going to leave this live stream open to talk all about that. As you check in, give me a thumbs up. I appreciate all the support. Thumbs up if you haven't already subscribed. The funny thing is, guys, YouTube sends me these notifications and analytics, and one of the stats is a stat about how many people consistently watch my channel versus how many people are actually subscribed. So 75%, 75% who watch haven't subscribed, which is insane because I'm floating around 27,000 subscribers. This has been an organic growth stream for about 4 years. I put a lot of work into this. That stat kind of shocked me a bit. I'm like, 75% of people who watch my channel haven't subscribed. So I'll ask you to do it. Maybe you're watching it and you haven't known you haven't done it. It helps the channel. Also, join our membership. Johnny Says Boxing Insiders. The link is pinned in this comment section below, right there at the top. And you gain access to our Discord, Pro Boxing Betting Discord. It's a lot of fun in there. We're about 200 and I want to say thank you to him. And as we're talking, let's get it in. We see Mar in the house, Mateo, boxing fan of the house. Mar says his book updated today. Let's highlight that real quick. We might as well just get started real quick. All right. So Mar the Prince, Ohio in the house. He says, my book updated today. Visoli versus Wilkins. KO plus 130. Smalls versus Vasquez decision 163. Are you taking those? So how am I reading this? Are these the bets you like? Vasily versus Wilkins. Vasily's a huge favorite. He's kind of like the young promotional darling at the moment. Wilkins has some craft to him. The fight is definitely set up for Vasily to look awesome. So I don't hate that. Oh, so you're saying which one to pick. Okay, now I'm reading it right. Decisions at minus 163, stoppage at one. Wilkins is tough, man. What is that, a 10-rounder? I'm probably leaning towards a decision. Smalls versus Vasquez, KO or decision. Smalls is another huge favorite. Mar, these are kind of like two fights. It just depends on, do you want to not overthink it? You know what I'm saying? So if I'm not going to overthink it, I'm taking Vasily and Smalls to look great. If I want to overthink it, then we could just say, hey, Wilkins is tougher than people give him credit for. And Vasquez, I think those odds are a bit too wide. We know that Smalls hasn't always looked exceptional. I think Smalls has a lot of hype behind him. He is what he is. So it just depends on where your instincts at. I know you know what you're doing, and those aren't really two fights that I've thought a lot about at this moment. But I'll give them a look. You know, the favorites are just so heavy, so I see why you're doing it. You want to juice the odds up by, creating a little method of victory. So let me know who you like in that. Daniel Vega checking in. Mars, Smalls, Vasquez over 8.5, under 8.5. Kiza B, I don't know much about Wilkins, but Vasily is the truth. Kiza, best number I've seen on him knockout. Wilkins is tough, would be a statement if Vasily wins by knockout. That's what I think as well, Addo. Wilkins is tough, and I think it's a good step up. I think it's a good matchup. I like the matchmaking here. I think the odds probably got it wrong a bit. Let's look at those odds real quick. And so we're gonna look at the Vasily odds real quick. Yeah, look at this. 106. A huge favorite. I'm gonna shrink my head, give you guys the screen. Okay, so if it's solely on the money line, $1.06. The draw's 25 to 1. Wilkins is $12. 100 on Wilkins gets you your money back plus 1,100. I'm not liking those odds, guys. So let's see if we could get a method of victory. And we're not. So my book, guys, isn't giving me an option to do a method of victory. So at this moment, I'm actually going to avoid that fight. right now at this stage of the game, I'm not going to take any giant favorite, $1.06, $1.05 to win based off of my approach over the last month on how I'm making my money. Now, I'll give you guys a long parlay today, and I'll probably put a couple big favorites on the long parlay, but that's not really my betting strategy for me to make money. I'm probably not going to take Wilkins here. Vasoli should get the job done. Tahir Small should get the job done. But we'll see what happens. So Adu says look up bet 365. Okay. So we'll go to Adu's comment, and this is what we're currently doing. So Adu says look up bet 365. We'll go share this tab instead. Here we go, boys, and let's go. I'm kind of talking my way through this sort of tech side, so bear with me. This is only the third live stream I've ever done with using the software, so I appreciate everybody's patience. All right, here we go. So we're looking at the Vasoli versus. Are we talking Vasoli Wilkins, right? So Vasoli Wilkins. All right, there we go. Adu, shout out to Adu. We are getting options. So Sportsbet in Australia isn't giving us options. They're only giving us money line, but Bet365, you have Vasoli by knockout at 230, Vasoli by decision at 168. Guys, it's just going to come down once again. It just depends on what you think. I think this fight's going to end in the decision. I think Wilkins is tougher and better than people think. I think this $1.61. Yeah, I'm not signed in. So it's not going to allow me to bet, but I'll highlight it. I think this $1.61 is great. Just off jump, without me thinking about it too much, I would probably take Vasoli by decision at 161. But that's not my guarantee yet. You guys know, as we get closer to the weekend, I'll give you all my bets in the Discord. I'm going to put the long parlay up on Instagram, YouTube, and in Discord. The Discord boys, though, the VIPs are going to get, guys, there's some method of victories I love. There's a prop bet I love. There's a knockdown prop bet I love. I could literally go down the fights and pick 4 fights and 4 outcomes that I would bet heavy on, things that are going to give me like $1.90, a couple dogs that I really like at plus money. So there's a lot of money to be made this weekend, which I'm excited about. Stand on business. What a great name. What's good, G? Glad to be in the chat. Stand on. What a great name, man. Stand on business. Welcome, brother. We appreciate you here. I haven't been on boxing since Crawford won, but I enjoy trying to keep up with lesser known fighters. Stand on business brings up a good point, right? So I want to talk about this statement right here, and this is kind of like an excellent point regarding the community we've built. Stand on business says, I haven't been on boxing since Crawford won, but I enjoy trying to keep up with lesser known fighters. And the reason why that's important is because not everybody is going to be a professional gambler. We have those in our community. We have those in our Discord. I could list about 5 to 10 guys that I know in our Discord that make a living off of gambling. You guys know about 2 to 3 of them because they talk about it, but there's other ones as well that they message me. And then there's another sector of gamblers like myself. I like dissecting fights because I love boxing. I like sprinkling a little bit on the fights to see if I get them right. And I like sharing my knowledge as well. So it keeps me in the loop. It keeps me locked in with the up and comers. It keeps me internationally locked in. You know this channel. We'll talk about fights happening in Turkey. We covered fights in Ghana. We've covered fights in the UK. It's international. I mean, I'm live streaming from Australia, and I know a lot of you guys don't live here in Oz. So stand on business. I do the same thing. It keeps us connected. And good hit with Crawford. Unlike you, I went against my gut and I bet against my favorite fighter, and I got burned. Kiza says Vasoli's the best prospect from the UK. I think I love watching his fights. He's good. Kiza, does he stop him? Do you think Vasoli stops him? He has good chat too. Money Meat, yeah, because we love the pump. Adu, you know what time it is. People loving the pump out here. So I'm going to go back to Sportsbet just because I'm a little bit more familiar with sort of with the functionality of it. And I want to show you. So if we're going down these bets, let's do a sort of rapid fire real quick. Because if you look at these first one, let me clear this out. And let me give you the bigger screen. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 fights. You have $1.06 with Hayden. You have $1. $1.06 with Haworth. You have $1.06 with Tudsbury. You have $1.07 with Suleiman. Am I going to bet a lot of money on those fights? No, these are kind of feeder fights. These are prelim fights. These are fights for the big favorites to come out on top and get a victory. The fights I'm really interested in start right here. Boston versus Fawaz. It's Thursday morning here in Australia. I've been talking about Boston versus Fawaz since Monday, my first live stream. Okay? So my first live stream, I was talking about that I'd already done film study on Boston versus Fawaz. You know, my film study doesn't only include the fight, but it also, I like reading about the fighters. I like learning the backstories. You know that they have history. They fought once already. It was a 10-round fight. It was a draw. I talked about yesterday on the live stream, Bilal Fawaz's story is absolutely remarkable. You know, it's nothing short of insane when you hear about his story. You could research that. You watch the first fight. Fawaz is 37. On paper, you would see a 37-year-old or a 36-year-old versus a 23-year-old. You would then say, why is this 36-year-old only have a handful of pro fights? This is why you have to do your own research and watch the first fight. I like Fawaz. I like Fawaz at 315, mate. So on the money line, that's enough for me. $100 on Fawaz on a standalone gets you your money back plus $215. I know I've been going back and forth. Some of the boys, like Julius right here, thinks that Julius says Junaid Boston will win. Now, I disagree with him. I think that Bilal Fawaz is going to win. I think he's more energy. I think he has I think he has Boston's game plan. You know what I'm saying? People are talking about adjustments in the first fight. I think that Boston underestimated Fawaz, but I think that psychologically going into a rematch, I don't think Boston could make that many adjustments to beat Fawaz. Now, if you don't want to pick the winner, like, because I got to be honest, if Julius likes $1.42, that's a good bet. 100 on Fawaz, 100 on Boston gets you your money back plus $42. That's a good bet. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you're torn, if listening to guys like Julius and guys like myself have you sort of in the middle of who to take, here's a prop bet that I like. It's $1.42. This is a prop that allows us to pick an outcome without picking a side, right? So here we go. I was looking at this earlier. Will the fight go the distance? Yes. No. I think the fight goes the distance. Now, it's only $1.32. A lot of the boys here aren't going to take a lot of the boys here, here's my point. A lot of the boys here are going to take Boston on the money line at 142. They're not going to throw 10,000 on them to win. They're going to take Boston on a parlay to win. So, do you think Boston's going to stop Fawaz? There's a chance Fawaz could win. There's a chance it could be a draw. The first one was a draw. Why not just take, will the fight go the distance at $1.32? Because even if you like Boston and he loses, you still win. It's just giving you guys another option. $1.32 is good juice on a parlay. So I have a long parlay working. I'm on a long parlay. This fight, Boston versus Fawaz, is on my long parlay, but the method of victory is not the money line. And I usually just stick to money lines. Because I like Fawaz to win, the money line odds at 315 are so good. I'm gonna go heavy on that. So I'm not gonna put the money line on a long parlay. I'm gonna go heavy on that money line. Julius Bilal Fawaz has to stop him. Those judges ain't helping Fawaz not one bit. You don't know, man. Fawaz is very marketable. Fawaz is a UK. The United Kingdom. Britain has definitely rallied around him. If you look at his story, he was a refugee. He was offered, I think, $200,000 by a big promoter, and because he was a refugee and didn't have citizenship, he wasn't allowed to box. He wasn't allowed to take the money. He wasn't allowed to have a bank account. And then his boxing gym, the local boxing council, proposed an appeal to the government, and they got the appeal passed. And this is why that he wasn't allowed to box professionally for so many years, and why he's boxing now. He has a feel-good story. This is a guy that you could easily do a movie about. So the idea that he is coming in as the B-side because of, Starboy, the marketability. He's only 23, his opponent. But to say that the judges would do him dirty a second time in this, he got the rematch for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of disagree with that. I don't think Bilal has to knock him out to win. I think Bilal does the same exact thing and wins a decision. I had him winning 7-3. maybe 6-4 in the first fight. And people are like, oh, Boston won the first half of the fight. No, I disagree. I don't think he won the first half of the fight. I like Bilal Fawaz's awkward style. I think a lot of punches hit him on his high guard. I don't think a lot of things land cleanly on him. And we'll see what happens. We'll definitely see what happens. Arslan Beck versus Allen, the under. Let's go here real quick. Let's check this. So, boys, we're going to check this fight real quick. So, Arslan Beck versus Allen, the under. Let's get into it. Okay. So, right now it's a 50-50 fight. I put money on Allen 3 days ago, and I got Allen at $2.30. It's now $1.96, $1.96. This is an archetypal coin flip, meaning the punters expect this could go either way. We know with Makhmudov, he could crack. He's big, 6'6". Allen is big, 6'3", 6'4". He could crack. Allen's never been knocked out. Allen's never been unconscious before. We've watched Makhmudov get stopped against really a not big puncher. That's kind of the hesitation. And then when you watch Arslan Beck's tape, Arslan Beck's tape isn't good. And Dave Allen's tape isn't going to blow you away. Dave Allen, though, comes with a story, comes with the homecoming. We saw what he looked like in his last fight. I think, the $1.96 versus the under. Now, Julius, are we talking we're putting the under on a parlay? On a same fight multi? Under 6.5, 175. Oh, so over 6.5, 175. Under 6.5 is the same exact odds. Is the same exact odds that you would get if you pick one to win. So this is what it's going to come down to, guys. If you like the under, just pick the under. And I think this is why Julius highlighted this, right? Am I right here? If you like the under 6.5, somebody's going to get stopped. Just pick the under because the odds are the same exact. Because Dave Allen, that's actually not a bad. That's not a bad shout, Julius, mate. I like this bet actually a lot. In my stats don't lie breakdown, I did pick Dave Allen, but shout out to the chat, shout out to Julius, dude. I think that's the play, bro. Hats off to Julius, mate. I think that's the play because I could go, my ego bet, my receipts. I'm with Dave Allen, but you give me the same odds at under 6.5, and it leaves the door open with Allen being knocked out. That could happen. Allen could get knocked out too. Either guy could get knocked out. So hats off to Julius. I really like the under at 196, and $100. $100 gets you your money back plus $96. It's almost a 1-1. Shout out to chat, Julius. I like that a lot. I'm probably going to tell you on that, and I'll give you your props for sure. High interest in the house. Let's highlight this comment. High interest, member for 2 months. Yo, Johnny, check in. I appreciate you, high interest, man. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the consistency on your end. And it's helped the channel grow. Everybody with stars by their name, everybody who's subscribed, however you could help the channel, we're growing. And this is a lot of fun. And high interest, I appreciate you, man. Lloyd Hernandez, do you think Bilal Fawaz is a live dog? Lloyd, 100%. I think Bilal Fawaz is a live dog. I'm a fan of, like I said, you're not going to get a guy with Bilal Fawaz. Look, 37 years old. It's now or never. He's marketable as hell. He has a great story. We already talked about that. You look it up. I went over why I like him. I watched the first fight. I think there's a big psychological component in this first fight that's going into this second fight. I think we must talk about the age gap, but not in how you think. You know what I'm saying? The age gap in this fight isn't the 37-year-old long in the tooth fighter fighting the young upstart 23-year-old. The age gap is in maturation and mindset growth. The age gap is in the psychological deterrence of the 23-year-old star boy who fought a kid when he was a huge favorite to a draw and has had to hear from not only his opponent, Fawaz, but all of Fawaz's fans. He has a large following saying that Starboy got a gift. So that 23-year-old now is questioning things. And if you watch the fight week, the lead up, go to the Instagram. I just shared it on my channel. We'll see if this works. We'll see if I get will I get flagged, chat, if I share an Instagram, if I play an Instagram story on here? I don't know how the sort of free trade thing works, because if you want, let's give it a try. Share tab. Okay, so this is Instagram. Look at me, I'm getting fancy out here, boy. I'm getting fancy. Below Fawaz. Okay, we'll see if this works.
My boy, finally meet. What's up then? Fantastic.
Did you hear this?
You ready? Are you ready? You will see. Look, you will see.
Okay, so there's one of them.
My boy. You keep talking. Enjoy it. Make the
Listen to
most of
this.
it. Got 2 more days, right?
Well,
Enjoy your
You're
pantomime.
the one that ran away
Enjoy
for
it,
10
mate,
months. You
your
ran away for 10 months.
Okay.
Yeah? You ran away.
Oh, I went into hospital for depression, right? Like you said, didn't it?
Oh.
Yeah. Don't throw stones when you live in glass houses.
Well, you should say
Don't
that.
throw stones when you live in glass houses.
You live in glass houses, right?
Don't
so
throw
you
stones
shouldn't
when you
throw
live in glass
stones.
houses.
So did you hear that?
Janae, I'll see you
Your
very
team don't
soon.
love you.
I promise.
So what do you guys think about that? What do you think about that interaction? You know what I'm saying? So like that interaction to me, if you're going on body language, if you're going on interaction, okay. I think Bilal Fawaz is a live dog. I do. He said Bilal after that fight said that they wanted this fight to happen so much earlier than it really did, and he was making. I don't like when fighters make fun of other fighters' mental health issues, but it's kind of it's the fight game. It's war, hand to hand combat, so all's fair in love and war. But for him to bring that up, I don't like Starboy's body language there. I got to be honest with you. And we'll go back to it's not why I'm taking Fawaz, but I found that whole sort of thing interesting. Johnny been killing with the highlight, good sound. Okay, loud and clear. Cool. I'm learning. That's the first time ever, guys, on my channel that we played a clip with sound. We out here getting fancy, boy. Fawaz enjoying his 15 seconds of fame. Fawaz is a strange guy. I like him. You might. I think that Fawaz's personality is exactly. It's boxing kind of like epitomized. You know what I'm saying? Like we love these personalities in boxing. I think he's perfect for it. His style is interesting. He's like I said, if you've ever seen him fight, if you've ever seen let's see if we could get some. I just have to learn how to navigate this now. Let's see if we could get. All right, here we go. Let's watch a clip. What do you guys make of this? Now what we're doing is, boys, we have the opportunity to kind of watch film together as long as I don't play copyright film. Hopefully I don't get tagged here. So give me a second. Share this tab. Okay. Let's get my head out the way. This is footage of that fight.
Underway then, this potentially could be the contest of the night. Barras now looking to apply the pressure.
But that's a peach of a right uppercut.
Guys, I don't think Starboy likes fighting in the box.
Good shot right hand.
So close on the cards, and no one would complain if we saw this one all over again.
Boston enjoys the clinch. I don't think Boston enjoys a dogfight. And that's just kind of my take on that. We'll move on. Let's go. Let's answer Julius. Julius says, y'all like Padley or Bellotti? Um, I like Padley in this fight. I do think though, Julius, that people might be sleeping on Bellotti. I do. I think that people might be sleeping on Bellotti. I'm still kind of torn if I'm a believer that Padley that I'm going to give Padley all this love because he got beat by Shakur. You know what I'm saying? I'm always kind of hesitant with like buying into the fact that we're all of a sudden heralding a guy because he got beat against a better guy. So give me 1 second. Let's see what those odds are. So we're going to take a look at those odds real quick. We're going to go to Bellotti. Let's clear this out. Because the odds on the money line are pretty interesting. Julius, where are you leaning on that? What's the before I give you my take, boys? What's your take on Bellotti versus Padley? How do you guys see it playing out? Give me a method of victory. All I'm going to do right now is give you the current odds, at least here in Sydney. Yeah, see the odds are. If you're a Padley guy, the odds at $1.34 are great to juice up a parlay. $1.34 is great already to juice up a money line parlay, like one of our like famous long parlays, right? Great for it. So it just depends on if you're a Padley fan or you're a Bellotti fan. I'm sure money's going to be coming in on Bellotti, guys. The Bomber, Reese Bellotti. I don't like that he's had this quick turnaround. I don't like people are like, I don't like the conversation about Bellotti going into the Gardner fight when Bellotti was on record. It's hard for me to get past that. Bellotti talking about, hey, if I can't beat Ryan Gardner, then I should hang him up. Well, bro, you didn't just lose to Gardner. You got stopped in the 12th. And, make what you will about that. And in recent memory, we have found great odds on a fight in which, like here, Padley on points is $1.79, but Padley by knockouts 460. Do you remember when we got Shushu Carrington? Everybody was taking Shushu on knockout in his last fight for $1.50. I took him by decision at $6, and based on his competition and how I think the Carrington has sort of like at this stage of his career, I don't want to say he boxed down to his opponents, but he kind of lacks that killer instinct. So that's an example of finding odds flip-flopped and the method of victory and us hitting. The Richardson Hitchens stoppage against George, we went that way as well. I know a lot of people were taking Hitch by decision. I think we hit Hitch at 450. So this is tempting. Padley by stoppage is tempting, considering what Padley, the energy he's bringing onto the table. He's boxing full time. He's being marketed. People know his name now, both in the U.S. You got Shakur Stevenson talking about him still, and that's kind of the beautiful part about boxing is when you share the ring with a fighter, you kind of become connected forever, whether win or lose. And so he has that sort of shine. You share the ring for 9 rounds with a world champion, a guy who's a top 10 pound for pound guy, 3 division world champion. Shakur's won belts at 26, 30, and 35. You take something with you, even though you get stopped. He fought brave, so he has all that. And then you mix the psychology of Bellotti having gotten stopped against Gardner in a fight that he thought he should have won. I kind of like this bet. I think there's value here. I like Padley. I mean, it would either be, for me right now, Padley by stoppage or go the other way and take in the dog. That's what I just see. The chat's heating up. What's up, Top Notch? Haven't seen you in a while. Top Notch Cannon 978. Padley did beat you. Yeah, he did. And that was a while ago. So you guys put me on the game because I was trying to create a false narrative 2 days ago on the live stream. I said, all right, chat, raise your hand if you heard of Padley before the Shakur Stevenson fight. And all the boys were like, because we're not just an American, we're not, so many people from around the world here. They're like, what are you talking about, dude? I watched the Padley versus Chamberlain fight. Padley money line, not messing with move. That's the Adu. I feel you. Julius says Padley's win over Chamberlain sold me. Padley is European level at best, but Bellotti is cashing out. I can't disagree with Julius there. I agree with you there. All right, let's go. Let's transition real quick. There's a lot to talk about. Mar the Prince. Do you think Ennis? Let's talk about this real quick. It's a fun one. Okay. So Mar the Prince says, Johnny, do you think Ennis Lima under 10.5 is good value? It I'm kind of torn on that. Guys, look at I'm kind of torn on that. Only because the more I watch Jaron Ennis, I've watched his last 10 fights over the last 3 days. I've watched all of his fights, and I don't know if it's what I saw against Chukachin or even like how he punches. Jaron has a lot of knockouts, huge knockout to win ratio, right? But he kind of his power is different. His power is volume. He drowns you. He just sort of like, makes you really uncomfortable. He couldn't stop Chukachin because Chukachin uses the whole ring. His fight style is way different than Lima. I don't want to say Lima fights exactly like Stanionis, but if you were to pick, hey, which fight style does Lima fight more like, Chukachin or Stanionis? It would definitely be Stanionis. Front forward, marauding, flat-footed, throws bombs, doesn't move his head a lot, gets hit, has power, he could pop. The thing, though, is why I'm hesitant with that under is like is the weight class, I guess. Is the way is just that it's just him moving up, stopping somebody at 54. And then also you mix that in with Lima on 4 days notice went the distance at 160 with Aaron McKenna. And I know Aaron McKenna doesn't have a huge knockout to win ratio, but Aaron McKenna's fight style, Aaron McKenna's a dog, man. He's always in your face. He could crack. Doesn't have like an 80 to 90% knockout to win ratio, but he could punch too. So that's where I'm kind of torn. Like it almost has me thinking Ennis. I wouldn't be like Ennis by decision, which sounds crazy. I just don't think Lima's going to come and roll over. But that kind of supports the under 10.5 because he's a brave guy. It just will Ennis's power carry because he's never been one to just have starching one punch power, and he kind of plays with his food sometimes too. And we'll see. Also, there's something he does that I don't like is at 147 he got away with a lot, wasting a lot of energy. He does a lot of stance switching. He does a lot of sort of, flashy movements, unorthodox. He's a bit of like, he could be a reflex fighter, but he could also be a technical kind of slugger. He could be a counter boxer, but he can be an aggressive sort of puncher. He likes fighting in the pocket, but he could also fight at range. He's very well-rounded. He sometimes is a bit leaky with his defense though. And up until this point, no one's really made him pay for that. And, we know in boxing, the longer you stay around, the better opponents you fight. And then to that point is, look at his resume. I'm not trashing Sergey Lipnitz. Sergey Lipnitz, when he fought Sergey, I don't think Sergey had been a world champion. I think he fought Sergey when he beat him, and then Lipnitz became a world champion. I think he got elevated. And then, Stanionis was the WBA guy. My point is, in boxing, the longer you stay around, the better opponents you fight, more than likely you're going to be found out in terms of somebody's going to make you pay for the holes in your game, or they're going to make you pay for things that you could get away with at this moment. Not saying that Lima's going to beat him. It's just where I'm kind of torn on is like, part of me wants to take Boots by decision. I think, and I don't know though how much of that is my contrarian mind when everybody's just saying Lima's going to get starched. Do the tape on Lima. I mean, he seems pretty goddamn durable. Decision 450. I love that. Decision 450. You put Boots for a fun $10 bet. You put Boots by decision, and then you take you take Boots by decision and Padley by stoppage. We're just doing an experiment real quick. Boots by decision, Padley by knockout, 2-leg parlay, $20. 100 gets you your money back plus 2,000. So it's just something to think about. I'm not 100% convinced yet. David, all right, let's catch up to the chat. You guys are popping. Sorry if I missed anybody, guys. The chat's popping. I went on a bit of a rant there. Mateo, been thinking about decision as well. PJ Puppet in the house. Mita Ola, what are your thoughts on neither fighter being knocked down in the Boots fight? It could happen. It could happen. I mean, I don't think I've seen. Have we seen I don't McKenna didn't knock down Lima. McKenna's McKenna will probably at the end of the day be fighting at 168 too. So Lipnitz was a world champion. All right, I had that wrong. He was a world champion. Okay. Lima does get hit a lot. Boots is good over 7.5. See, if anything, I would like the over, PJ. See, that's not a bad bet. Let's look what the over 7.5 is paying. Because if I'm siding with the decision, you got to think that Lima, who's the champion, who has the IBO belt, knows all the star. Also, guys, Lima travels well. Look at his last 5 fights. Even the McKenna loss, 4 days notice, goes to the UK. He's fought in Germany. He's fought in Asia. He's used to being the B-side. He's used to traveling to other people. So all of that isn't going to bother him. If anything, he's one of these guys that likes being the road warrior. Early on in Evander Holyfield's career, his nickname was the Road Warrior. Some fighters wear that as a badge of honor. They don't want a homecoming. They don't want to fight at home. There's no pressure being the B-side. But some guys, being the B-side doesn't work for them. They only know how to be the hammer. So you got to take that in consideration too. I fully expect Lima to jump out and try to make Ennis uncomfortable early. I'll know if my bet goes right or wrong within the first minute. Because I was wrong with in the first few minutes of Canelo Crawford, I knew I kind of, knew I expected Canelo to be way more aggressive in the very first bit, and it wasn't happening. I was like, oh shit, this is going to backfire. So I think if I'm Lima's coach at this stage of the game where he is, what's at stake, why not jump out on Ennis? You know what I'm saying? Why not put him on the back foot and make him react? Great counter boxer. You gotta put yourself in harm's way to land your power. We know that's what Lima does. Watch his tape. It's kind of how he operates. I don't see Lima being able to punch off of his back foot. We'll see what happens. So let's see that over real quick. If it's anything over $1.50, I love it. I don't know what they're gonna give us though. Round betting. Total rounds. Oh yeah. I love the over. I love over 7.5. I love the over. I love $1.89 over 7.5. And that is more of a testament to how I think Lima is better than and more tougher than people think than it is. I'm a big Boots fan. I'm going to this fight. I'm cheering for Boots. I'm a Boots fan. But it's I like that over. So that's a good shout, PJ. McKenna, not really a big puncher, and the fight was ugly. A lot of smothering. Did Lima ever? No. Lima's never been knocked down. So Clifton Dennis. I don't see how you believe it can go the distance. Well, I just kind of explained it to you. I could see how it could go the distance based off of, a lot of things have to go my way. If I'm going to take that bet at $4.50, obviously it's $4.50 for a reason. So when I'm putting my sort of logical reason on the line and I'm betting my money, it's not like I'm just taking the 450. I told you why. I think that it can go the distance because I think Lima's better than people think. Jaron Ennis isn't a one-punch knockout guy. Jaron Ennis has never fought at 154. From the looks of the stare down so far, Lima looks like he's gonna be weighing a shitload on fight night. He's never been dropped. Guys, try to find footage of Lima being dropped. I've never seen him on the canvas. I mean, a lot of things have to go my way if I'm going to take that route. how could it? I don't see it. I could see it going the distance in Ennis's favor more than I could see Ennis stopping him in 3 rounds. I know a lot of people like that under 5.5 to me is insane. I think the under 5.5 is way more risky than Ennis by decision. Yeah, I think I'd feel more comfortable taking Ennis by decision than the under 5.5. Will Bowen for the odds. I think you have to take an over. Yeah, I like the over. I like over 7.5. If I had to be safe, if I had to play with like a lot of money, the over 5.5. So I'm only getting the over 7.5 is $1.89. That's probably the go. That's probably my pick. I can see Loma had great defense, but his defense isn't really good. Yeah, but he's still. It's not like it's awful though. Like, what do we? Give me a second. Let's pull up some Lima. My landscapers here. I apologize. They're freaking. They come every Thursday morning to leaf blow. These fuckers leaf blow. In my opinion, the leaf blower is the second worst invention in the world, other than the cigarette. And here's my point. I'm not anti-cigarette. Obviously, I don't smoke, and I'm not anti-leaf blower. But think about the two people who invented the leaf blower and the cigarette. Whoever invented the cigarette was like, dude, let's light the cigarette, and then when it's done, we just throw it on the ground. How's there no exit strategy with a goddamn filter? Whoever invented that, like, that's the most moronic invention if we're talking about, outcomes, cause and effects. Let's just smoke the cigarette. At least have, like, the pack be sort of, like, fire resistant and recyclable. So after you're done smoking, like, you're supposed to put it, no, after the cigarette, it's done, throw it. The fuck? What are we talking about? And then the leaf blower, this fool down here, doesn't have a vacuum bag. He just blows the leaves away from my garage or away from the street. And I could see there's no bag on the leaf blower. I could see if you sweep them up and do it. No, the fool just blows them, and that's it. The guys out front of the corner stores, they just blow. Awful invention. Leaf blower, cigarette, two most moronic inventions in the world. All right, give me a second. What was I looking up? Lima. Usama. Usama Lima. Let's see. He doesn't have a lot online though. I mean, if you're just looking at like, all right, let's see. What are we seeing here? Right here we go. Let's see what we're seeing. Let's look at this together, boys. Here's another point. Here's another point I want to talk about. Has he ever faced a southpaw? You know what I'm saying? Like, go to Boots' resume. Has he faced a southpaw? It should be mentioned, shouldn't it? Who was the best southpaw Boots has faced? Is Lima tougher than Lipnitz? It took Boots 6 rounds to stop Wash Lipnitz. Adu says, I'm on the same wavelength. Leaf blowers, pointless. Yeah, Adu, I think maybe because it's like, I didn't really grow up with leaf blowers, man. Australia, the Aussies love a leaf blower, boy. Boots will terminate this guy. By round 4, everyone will be waiting their nails hoping to Lima last over 6. All right, Clifton, where's the bet? Where's the money at then, Clifton? What are we doing? What are we doing, Clifton? This isn't an echo chamber. Where are we at? Where are we at, Clifton? Let's go. DJ Green, I mean, since Boots switches so much, it probably won't matter as much as this fight. Yeah, but the point isn't Boots switching. The point is even Boots always switches. Why it will matter is that he's never fought a southpaw, meaning that the angles of punches, whether he's at Southie or ortho, his opponent Lima, his lead foot is going to be his right foot. So the jab hand's coming at a different angle. So it's just something to think about. We could psychoanalyze statistics, matchups, all we want. The fact is, he's kind of, I don't know, is it just coincidence he hasn't fought southpaws? Do people know something? Like what if, let's say hypothetically, what if his handlers know that he struggles with southpaws? You know what I'm saying? It's just something we have to talk about it. You're not going to hear about it anywhere else. I'm sure nobody's going to write an article about Boots Ennis. This is his first southpaw he's going to fight. So what are some firsts? Jaron Ennis's first ever fight at 154, right? Jaron Ennis's first time he's ever fighting a southpaw. First time he's fighting a southpaw champ. Ennis, Lima's there's some firsts here that we should talk about. No one's talking about it. Y'all sleep. I think people are sleeping on Lima. I'm serious. I'm not just blowing smoke. I like what I see from him. I like what I see from Lima when I watch his tape. I like that he's there to get hit. I like that he's so aggressive. He's going to be just as tall as Boots. The problem with Stanionis is he's small, and he's tiny, and he's very predictable. High guard. Like we're going to see the speed too, man. Boots knockout, don't overthink it. Joseph in the house. Boots not going to blow him out in 4. I like the over. Lima defense isn't good. No head movement. Wants to fight on the inside. Boots knockout easy. Yeah, I think what I'm saying is the style. If you were to just say the style, stylistic knockout. But there's other factors. We've seen it happen before. We've seen it happen time and time again where, the guy with a lot of knockouts is supposed to win by knockout. He doesn't win by knockout. What we haven't seen, though, is Boots fight at 54. We haven't seen him fight at 154. What's up with Danny Garcia? He has Joe Roganism. What is Joe Roganism? Rambler in the house with those controversial takes. Rambler in the house popping with them controversial takes. Clifton, you got to think they're putting Boots in with this guy to knock him out, to build hype, finally getting a big fight. Yeah, they say that Boots is going to fight the winner of Lubin and Virgil. I'm here for it. But how many times did guys, what have we learned over the last 6 months in boxing? You know what I mean? What have we learned? Let me highlight this because Clifton brings up a good point. Clifton Dennis says you got to think that they're putting Boots in with this guy to knock him out, to build hype for him finally getting a big fight. And we know that big fight. We know that it's been well spoken, well documented. Boots is going to get the winner of Virgil versus Lubin. But in the last 6 months of boxing, guys, we've shared this journey together, at least just on my channel. We not only have seen a lot of draws, but we've seen a lot of A-sides lose. We've seen a lot of guys supposed to get the big fight. Resendez was like, not today, Caleb Plant. Not happening. It's just not going to happen. So what I mean by, and that's just off the top of my head, that happened about 6 months ago. From that Caleb Plant Resendez fight, it seems like we're living in like a alternate reality now of boxing, because I don't want to say like big money predictions, big favorites were a gimme, but the last 6 months have been weird, guys, with big favorites not coming through in a way that I've seen it more frequently in the last 6 months than I have in the last 10 years. So it's not, you can't always say it now. PJ, put 1,000 on the draw. Bricks, people were sleeping for sure. Mar the Prince, last southpaw Boots faced was Van Heerden. And that fight ended early. The Chris Van Heerden fight ended super early with a headbutt. It was a headbutt. It was a cut from a headbutt. Another angle is Boots looks like a skeleton at 47. Maybe the extra weight unleashes the beat. Great point. But great point, Julius. David Lima drops his hands a lot, leads with his head. DJ Green, it's definitely going to be expected for him to get the knockout. Seen a lot of draws. Guy humor. Guy humor. Clifton, this is the year of the upset. You're absolutely right, but this isn't one of them. Cap Quest. I think he fights the winner of Fedora versus Thurman first, then Virgil. It's a good question to have, mate. Tyler Randolph in the house. Chat's popping. Karen was a Russian amateur team experience, fast feet, young. Yeah, no. Karen also totally different style. Karen uses the entire ring, good pedigree, different style of boxer. What's up, Tyler? David, when they're only in the bags, keep your head. Somebody brought up a point here. Here, let's talk about it. CapQuest says, I think Boots fights the winner of Fedora versus Thurman first, then Virgil fight mid next year. So you think that, so before we even get there, CapQuest, you think that Virgil gets past Lubin? Who do you think wins that fight? Who wins, Virgil Lubin or Seb versus Thurman? Let's bring this up. I'm going to bring these odds up because I've been hearing a lot of kind of back and forth about Sebastian versus Thurman. I think Fedora handles Keith pretty easily, to be honest. But some people are liking the odds. Okay. Seb $1.24, Keith $4.50. Those odds have been like this for a while. Those odds haven't shifted. I like Seb versus Keith, man. And Virgil versus Lubin. I've been burned in the recently going against sort of like overthinking my favorite fighters. I'm definitely going with Virgil against Lubin. I think it'll be a tougher fight than people think, though. It's just so hard to bet against Virgil. Just his bravery, how he fights, his body work, dude. Come on. Virgil's one of the most exciting fighters out. Erickson as well, though. Erickson Lubin never in a boring fight. For the fight he had against we just watched Erickson. Didn't Erickson just fight Ardrill Holmes? Oh, what? Ardrill didn't want to fight him though. Thurman knockout or no distance. I got Fedora knockout. I think I like that too. He won't fight Thurman. Yeah, I could have swore I heard Virgil, the winner of Boots is getting Virgil next. I could be wrong. CapQuest, I think he stops Thurman. Me too. Ruben is tough, but I'm going with Virgil. Yeah, I agree. I think as we sit right now, I think Sebastian Fedora. I think the fight's close early for the first few rounds, but I think in this version of Seb Fedora, I think that style and pressure is going to slow those 36, 37-year-old legs down. I think by the fourth or fifth round, Keith is going to be standing in front of Seb a bit too much. He's going to be getting hit a bit too much. I could see Seb stopping him too, man. I actually like that bet a lot. Clifton Dennis, I thought Erickson lost to Ramos. He got a gift if Ramos is not as good as Ortiz. Dude, Jesus Ramos is a goddamn beast. People don't know about Jesus Ramos just isn't as active as he should be. I'm pretty sure Jesus moved up to 162. He's still pretty goddamn young as well. Jesus Ramos is a goddamn monster. I don't know if he has a fight sign, if he's, going through health issues or whatever. But, man, Ramos is a nightmare to deal with. It was a really close fight. I wouldn't say Erickson lost to Ramos. It was a close fight. It just depends on how you scored it. That's a whole nother conversation. Virgil will win by decision. I mean, if Virgil has his fight, if Virgil fights the fight that he fights, I mean, I could see Virgil stopping Erickson late. Fedora knockout, he's a monster. I agree. Julius, both Boots and Virgil are scared of each other. You think they're scared of each other? What do you mean? I don't think they're scared. I see what you're saying. I don't know, man. I think both guys are that dude. Rambler, Zach Efron has jaw implants. Johnny don't need them. He has that handsome switcher. Thanks, Rambler. Mateo, Seb knockout round 5 and onward. Sorry, Thurman. All right, let's highlight this. I like this. We could talk about it. Mar the Prince says Lubin versus Ortiz will be competitive early, but Lubin will get stopped in the later rounds. Erickson is an age 29 and has a lot of wear. He's been in wars with Ramos, Charlo, Rosario, and Fedora. I wouldn't really call Charlo's a war. He got stopped in the first round. That was 6 going on 7 years ago. He was young, man, 21, 22 years old. The Fedora fight, though, it gets stopped because of the damage, right? He was very visible. His face got torn up. But he was winning rounds, man. Look at the scorecards. He was winning rounds. The way that fight was actually trending, removing the damage on the skull and the face, it looked like it was trending more towards Lubin to beat Fundora. I think there was a mix of some bad luck there on Lubin's side. Now, I just don't know if he has that extra gear to keep Virgil Ortiz off of him. I don't know if Erickson has, because Virgil Ortiz isn't going to let you fight your fight. It's one of my favorite things to watch when he fights. Virgil will not let you fight your fight. Like, and we haven't seen anybody make him pay for that yet. Like I said, some guys will go through their whole career unscathed. Some guys will find that guy who makes them pay for it. So far, Boacek, both the knockdowns were they were flash knockdowns, more so of Virgil doing what he does, coming forward like a goddamn, zombie, working the body, just being there to get hit. And he doesn't look like he should be durable. Like, it's not like Virgil is stout looking. He doesn't look like he should be durable. His body and physique, he doesn't, like, you know what I'm saying. He doesn't come out looking like how Lubin's going to come out looking. Lubin's going to come out looking like, in terms of body composition, you could tell one who does strength and conditioning with powerlifting and barbell training, and Virgil does more aerobic training and plyometrics and things of that sort. Some fighters are still torn on, using strength training in their camps, and you could see in their physiques. But the one thing in Virgil that you don't see he's super durable. So I could definitely see that pressure, that pace, that volume, those body shots, the stress he brings to an opponent. I could see that stopping Lubin late. I agree with you there. I'd love to see. Let's talk about it, Joseph. Let's talk about this one. Even though we don't really like talking about future fights, considering both men have fights coming up. Virgil has Lubin. Boots is fighting in 4 days. If Virgil and Boots fight, who you got? Man, that is... I got to be honest, dude. I would take Virgil. Right now, I think I would take Virgil. Just based off of the style. I think if Boots could easily retire undefeated and become one of the best fighters of all time. I have a lot of high hopes for Jaron Ennis. I think his fight IQ. I respect Bozy a lot. I respect his athleticism, his how he can be fundamentally sound, but how he also likes to put on a show. I rate Jaron Ennis high, guys. I put him up there. I think, though, what I talked about earlier in the chat, how sometimes a fighter, they get away with things that, they shouldn't get away with. If Jaron Ennis is going to go out there and kind of like have a slow start or think that he's just going to counter Virgil the entire time and let Virgil get out on the front foot and let Virgil start sort of fighting downhill, my coach used to say, don't ever let your opponent fight downhill. Meaning that, like, sometimes when you're in there, you don't realize that you're not, that your opponent is depicting everywhere. Like, you don't realize that the guy you're fighting is fighting his fight because everything is happening so fast. And it's easy for us to watch the fight and we're breaking film down. And I'm like, oh shit, if he keeps letting him depict the pace and keeps letting him, control where the fight takes place, he's going to be down and he's not going to win this fight. That sort of thing. Virgil does that to his opponents. And we haven't really seen him change that game plan. But somebody brought it up earlier. Boots was cutting so much weight at 47. Boots at 54. We see this kid filled out on Saturday night and goes in there and stops Lima like a lot of you boys think he's going to do. And he just looks equally as explosive and equally as dangerous and equally as quick and is the exact same guy at 47 that he is at 54. I tell you what, he's going to be a goddamn nightmare problem to solve because you know, he has more tools. He has a more vast artillery than Virgil. He has more, more skills to pull from. But sometimes the basics get the bills paid. Think about Kelly Pavlik versus Jermaine Taylor. I always bring up Kelly, as basic as a guy as you'll ever see, but was one of the best knockout artists in middleweight of his generation, with using straight punches, using a jab and a cross. And he just had ungodly power and threw a really, really, really stiff jab, and his timing on his backhand was absolutely impressive. So it doesn't always, and Jermaine was the athlete, Jermaine was the Olympian, Jermaine was the guy who was, flashy, marketable, and people, he was 26-0-1 going into that fight. And then you could say what you will, what happened to him after he got stopped against Kelly, but that's what great fighters do. Great fighters make other great fighters look good. They don't make other great fighters look great. And so my point is, Ennis, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Julia says Virgil got a gift decision over Boacek. Virgil had to go to hospital after the Boacek fight. I got a gift decision. I don't know, man. I don't think so. Bum equipment. I appreciate it. I'm gonna watch that fight. Boots was looking like Feed the Children commercial. It's funny you say that, Julius. My sisters used to call me, my nickname when I was a boy was Sponsor Child. My older sisters used to call me, my nickname was Sponsor a Child. That was my nickname. Because I wouldn't eat, and all these ads when I was a kid in the late 80s, early 90s were about like feeding the children of Somalia, feeding the starving children of Ethiopia, and they would clown me because I was so skinny. So whoever just said feed the children commercials, I feel you. What was Virgil's most recent all-out war? Oh, it was Boacek. Yeah, I don't think I've watched that Boacek Virgil fight a few times. I don't know, man. I wouldn't say that was a robbery. It was a close fight. It could have gone either way. I'd have to rewatch it. Guys, I gotta lock it up. I'm gonna lock it up. It's 9 a.m. I gotta upload some videos. We got Stats Don't Lie videos to upload. We have another live stream to upload. Hopefully you like this video. Hopefully you subscribe. Hopefully you join our Johnny Says Boxing Insider group. Get access to the Discord. That link is pinned in the comment section below. It's a couple bucks a month. For 5 cents a day, you could sponsor this little starving child from Youngstown, Ohio. I just didn't like food. I just wouldn't eat. And I was more stubborn than anything because my parents, dude, they had no money. My mom would be like, if you were, we were poor growing up. We were on food stamps. 4 kids. Pops didn't work. My mom was in college. They were young as hell. And we were on government. Dude, I remember the government cheese. I remember the food getting dropped off on our doorstep. Every like once a week, it would be cheese, it'd be milk, it'd be eggs, and welfare. And I knew I was pissed at my parents. I remember being like 8 years old, hungry, pissed. Be like, this is fucked up. I was like, and y'all fucking like this is fucked up, man. We should have food out here. And so they would make all these sort of like bullshit ass meals